It works.
Hello? Yes.
Good day, good day. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check. Hello, hello. All right. I'm on a little bit early today because I'm trying to get this set up. So I don't have any viewers yet. Or maybe I do. Critical Chris Fan 2.0. You watching? All right, about a 10-second delay. Not terrible. When you join the chat, make sure you throw a one up or a like or something. Let me know you're there. We got about one more. Oh, sorry, I thought that was a 9. We got about 9 more minutes until the stream officially starts. This may end up being a failure to the 2 people who are watching, because as much as I'd like to have someone come up and debate me, I don't generally get too much of an audience on my lives. Not near as much as my videos and my shorts. Seven more minutes. Boom, 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 boom. Anyone here? Anyone currently watching at the moment? I need some music or something to pass the time. Got 6 more minutes. All right, we got a 1 in the chat with Critical Chris Fan 2.0. I doubt you're going to want to debate me, although it would be fun to hear you try, at least pretending to put on a perspective that you don't actually believe in. You should always straw man yourself, or I guess steel man yourself, or steel man the opposition's argument, because that helps make your case, well, let's say, make it have a better foundation, a more solid foundation. If you were a liberal, what would you say? Have the liberals shown that they are corrupt or not? That's a big question. And the worst part is I haven't even prepared for this because I was too busy working on a video today. Or maybe it's just too obvious of a topic to debate on. Like, how do you defend that position? I guess we'll find out. Or maybe we won't. We'll have to see if there's anyone interested. It's now 7:28. We got Critical Chris Fan 2.0. Do we have anyone else? I have a very sore back today. Spent a lot of time in this chair prepping for the video that I'm releasing later tonight, which will be covering the Liberal Convention, for anyone who's curious. Unfortunately, it was not near as entertaining as the NDP convention. It was more dark, grim, and depressing, to be honest. One more minute, and we will be official. Even though I've already been live for about 10 minutes. And we got 2 viewers. I need to adjust. All right, well, we are officially live. On today's episode of On Politics, I will be attempting to debate anyone who wants to debate me. Topic being that the current Liberal government and the previous Liberal government are, in fact, corrupt. At least they've shown themselves to be. There's plenty of scenarios and examples that I can provide to help substantiate my claim. I would like anyone who's willing to come up and prove me wrong. Say what they can, do what they can to prove that the Liberals are upstanding and that we should be trusting them as our leaders. And in fact, we may even broaden the debate to include that phraseology of maybe not necessarily corrupt. Is the Liberal government capable and trustworthy enough to lead us? I guess we will find out. Currently have 1 viewer. So we're going to give this a little bit of time, see if I can get anyone to jump on and prove me wrong here. But if not, we might have to deem this a failure for the day. We'll keep trying in the future if it doesn't work. Hopefully it does, because I think it would be a lot of fun. For anyone curious as to how this will work, I currently have pinned to the top of the chat a Discord link. Anyone who wants to join, you can join on the Discord. You will initially be muted. I will confirm who you are, and then we will go on with our discussion. In the event that someone actually joins who would like to debate me. And anyone who would like to debate me, feel free to use any sources you'd like. I will be using sources. This isn't a formal debate. This is just a discussion back and forth between people who may not agree on something. I'd like to hear their perspective, and I'm sure they would not like to hear mine. But if they're joining and they're listening, then perhaps they're, more open-minded than most. So hop along. Well, can we start off? We got 3 people here now. Can we get some likes? Or not some likes. Well, yeah, let's get some likes. Notification bell, typical stuff. Ground rules for the chat. Try and keep it civil. In the event that Liberals do join the chat, let's not hound them. Let's be polite and considerate of the fact that they're jumping into what they would deem as enemy territory. They're not our enemies. They're just misguided. At least that's my presupposition. I do want to hear what they have to say. Perhaps there's something that I'm off on that they can correct me. We will see. Or maybe no one shows up that wants to disprove this claim. I really hope someone does, because it'd be a fun time for you guys at least. Because let's say I bring a lot of good points to the table and they bring none. That for you is entertaining. And for the people who normally watch my streams, if I get decimated, that would also be entertaining. And you got to start somewhere, because this is my first online live debate. A lot of pressure. People can see my face. They can see my reactions. So I might look like an absolute fool. Cat Allard 26 says, "Hi, honey." I say hi right back. Love you very much. Who else is currently watching? We might get some people jumping in and out because there's not too much happening today. There's no point that I'm talking about, unless you guys want to bring something to talk about. If there's something you'd like me to discuss while we're waiting for someone to show up, please send it my way. I probably won't be touching on the Liberal Convention because I spent all day working on a video for that. So I'm probably going to avoid that one. But if there's anything else that you guys would like me to talk about, feel free to send it my way and I'll jump into it. But what we're looking for is liberals. We're on the prowl. The problem is I don't think this live stream gets enough reach, considering that I don't know if I've ever had more than 10 consecutive concurrent viewers. D-Bot says, OMFG, hi. Welcome to the chat, D-Bot. We're hoping to debate with some liberals today. We don't know if it'll happen because I was just saying I don't know if I get enough reach for it to happen, but I put a title on here that I'm hoping will draw some people in. We'll see if it happens. I was saying earlier that regardless of how it goes, if anyone does jump on, it should be entertaining for you guys. Because if I bring a lot of good points to the table and they bring none, that's quite entertaining. If I get absolutely destroyed and I look like a fool, sure, that sucks for me, but it's entertaining for you as well. So it's a win-win. The only scenario where it's a lose is if we don't get anyone to jump on. So this might be a short one. I said I'd give it until 8 o'clock. I want to give it half an hour to see if anyone jumps on because I didn't bring any topics to talk about today. What I wanted to do was to debate with people. I wanted to have a discussion. I want to hear what their point of view is. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. So it might be a little bit of a waiting game. So you might want to passively watch this, see if anyone joins. Maybe I'll give you guys a wave if anyone's on the chat. At the top of the chat, live stream on X. No, I did not. I don't currently have the software to multi-stream on several platforms at once. It costs a lot of money. And I've already poured enough money into this for now. Once I start getting those donations in, though, perhaps maybe I'll be able to afford it. But yeah, I think X would probably help quite a bit. Problem is, I don't think I have enough reach on X either. But maybe I should share it to X. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm going to do that. X.com. D-Bot, if you can go to your X and share this as well, that would help immensely. Maybe that would help bring some liberals to the table. Let's see. View my channel. Sorry, I'm currently silent. Pasting link. Calling on liberals to prove me wrong. Should be easy. I have never hosted live debate before. My position is that the liberal government have proven be corrupt. I don't know. Part of me thinks that that's too easy of a topic. Like, I don't even know if liberal constituents disagree with that claim. They're just so anti-conservative that they don't care. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this is too tough of a topic for them to debate? I'll say this on the X post. I haven't even prepared for this. So come make me look like a fool. Sweet. D-Bot, can you share that and maybe post your own as well if you're still watching? Maybe posting this on X will help get some engagement so we can get some people to hop on and either make me look like an idiot or vice versa, vice. If I eventually get enough viewers, I think I want to make this a consistent thing with different topics. And maybe you guys in the chat can post some ideas you have as to what those future topics might be. I know one thing. I could probably find 1 million people that would love to debate me on Trump. But this is a Canadian-focused podcast, so I would like to focus on Canada first. And if that fails, then maybe we can go to that. Oh, we got curly fries. Curly fries. All right, I'm trying to unmute curly fries. Oh, we got one who jumped on. Curly fries, you're currently muted. Who's me?
It's me.
Oh. Oh, make sure you mute the video. That is my fiance. It seems she wants to debate me. Or are you just testing to see if can I get ones in the chat if you heard her? I want to know if this is actually working. Because if this is working, that's great. Because I didn't even really test this. I had Zach jump on. I think Julian jumped on and said they could hear themselves. But let's get a confirmation here. Ones. Fantastic. If you guys know any liberals, send the link to them. Get them to debate me. It'll be fun. Any ideas as to what we could talk about in the future in terms of debates? Oh, I lost curly fries. I guess I won that one. That was a total demolition. They didn't even get a point out. 7:42. We're going to give it another 18 minutes to see if we can get anyone to jump on. I'm desperate here. Because the truth is, I don't really care if I am made to look a fool. We want the truth, don't we? And unlike Tom Cruise, we can handle the truth. You Gen Zers might be too young to understand that reference. This video is not sponsored by Bubbly. But it is my drink of choice when I'm not drinking water. Can I get some ones in the chat? I currently have 2 confirmed viewers. I got Critical Chris Fan 2.0 and D-Bot, but it says that I have more. So I'd like to see who else is here. Critical Chris Fan 2.0, did you send this to some of the liberals that you know? I know you were saying that you might. might get too heated. That's the point. That is the point. There's a certain someone that Paul Sidley knows that he could get to jump on. I don't know if they would actually join, though. It's a lot of pressure coming onto a live stream with a total 9 viewers. Oh, well. So far, not looking good. I apologize in advance if no one does come on. I'm going to try this continuously over the next little while. Not every day or anything, but maybe once every week or every couple of weeks. The channel has been growing slowly but surely, so perhaps as it grows, more people will tune into the lives, and then we can maybe get some of those who are averse to what I believe to talk to me. Who knows? We'll see. In the meantime, just looking up some stuff for us to maybe watch or something like that while we're waiting. Well, here we go. Here's something. Let's take a look at this while we're waiting.
So steel processing, I believe everybody wants it. Vote for us. Vote for Tatiana Auguste, who's a great candidate. Vote for a team that has a lot of Quebec members. And then we'll be able to defend Terrebonne. Terrebonne will be at the decision-making table. And we'll be defending businesses. There's a lot of SMEs there. There's a steel processing, aluminum processing in Terrebonne, so they've been hard hit by tariffs. And that's why I believe people are feeling reassured by the fact that we have a good game plan and that we will be able to represent them well.
Yeah. So vote Liberal. Otherwise, you won't get any government support. As confirmed by Marilyn Gladu, it seems one of the only reasons that she joined the Liberals was because she was not getting support, which I believe is highly illegal. Well, this one's looks pretty interesting.
It is not driven by one election. This is important, folks. Very, 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 very important.
This is Northern Perspective.
In every single wave, across every single election cycle, meaning the time between elections in government, Conservative voters are underrepresented in our demographically weighted sample relative to their actual share of the vote. Not in most waves, not in some elections, in every case we can observe. Two things stand out. First, the pattern is consistent. It is not driven by one election, one leader, or one moment in time. It holds across very different political contexts. Second, the gap appears immediately after each election and persists throughout the cycle. If this were primarily a problem of memory, we would expect the gap to grow over time as recall becomes less reliable. But that is not
welcome
what
to
we
the chat,
see.
Cynthia Reed.
The bias is present.
Welcome to the chat. The video was just the description that you were seeing there. It was talking about how pollsters are not representing Conservatives properly. So many times, whenever you see a poll that says Liberals are expected to win by a certain amount, a certain margin, this is due to the fact that Conservatives aren't being polled. They're polling far more Liberals than are actually represented. So the Conservatives appear to be losing by a larger margin than they actually are, or winning by a smaller margin than they actually are. which is very important because some people can be discouraged by polls and then they're deterred to actually vote. How is this happening? Because pollsters tend to be biased. I would watch, there's a video by Northern Perspective. They did a full, they have a clip here. You can see my mouse. They have a clip here touching on it, but they did a full 30-minute investigative report on it. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to their channel. They've been covering that a lot lately. I don't know if it's as important as they're making it out to be. I think it's just another example of how liberal-funded media and liberal-funded institutions are completely biased and using their positions to manipulate us and lie to us. But I don't know how much it actually affects the voting results, but I'm assuming it does to a minor extent. I mean, if I saw that the Conservatives were down by 20 points in my riding and there wasn't much time left and blah, 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 maybe I wouldn't be so inclined to go vote. I mean, I personally would, but I'm talking about just a lay person. So, Cynthia, topic of the day. It's a Prove Me Wrong session. I have a link at the top of the chat that you can click onto. And the topic at hand is that liberals have shown that they are corrupt. And anyone who's a liberal or who disagrees with that position is welcome to come on the chat, join my voice call on Discord, and try and prove me wrong. There'll be one person at a time, or 0 people thus far. But the whole point of this one is to have a friendly discussion or debate, if you will, an informal debate. So far, there haven't been any willing participants. You might leave the live, yep. So what I'm recommending people do is click the chat, or click the link, and then use whatever other device you have to pull up any sources you'd like to use to substantiate your position, as I will be using sources to substantiate mine. I don't think that the chat is necessary, like the live is necessary to, you don't need to be viewing the live if you're currently discussing with me, because you can hear me talking. And I guess the only thing that you would need the live for is to see the sources that I pull up to back up my claims. I was saying earlier that I think maybe this is too easy of a topic, or too hard of a topic for people to debate on, simply because it's so obvious that liberals are corrupt. Now, perhaps we could sway from this particular talking point into something else that's a little bit more discussable, but who knows? We'll see. We got it's 7:52 now, and thus far I've had no one hop on except for my lovely fiance, and she got obliterated. Well, yeah, maybe too broad. I was asking some people for their input on what I could do to maybe change the topic, or some future topics. No one has responded thus far. What do you think? I mean, liberals represent 45% of the country, so you'd think that 45% of the Canadian population believes that they're not corrupt, otherwise why are you voting for them? Or perhaps you could present the counter-argument that the Conservatives too are corrupt, in which case it would turn into a back and forth of who's more corrupt. And I think at this point in time, I think the Conservatives would be deemed less corrupt. Not to say that they're not, or there's not individuals in the party that aren't. But maybe I should just say Trudeau and Carney are corrupt. But there's too many other MPs who've been shown to be corrupt. So I wanted it to be liberals in particular. And boy, do I have some examples. I haven't prepared for this debate or this discussion, but I got some examples. And I was saying it's entertaining regardless of what happens. Why not just discuss my stuff anyways? Well, that's just my point, though, is that the liberals are corrupt. I don't have any stuff. I didn't have time to prepare because I spent all day today making a video that I'm going to be releasing later on the Liberal convention that was held this weekend. So I didn't prepare anything else really. So that's why I was just kind of scrolling through X to keep people entertained while we wait. Unless there's something you would like to discuss. I know you weren't interested in the child pornography allegations that were raised last week against Justin Trudeau. Not because you didn't think it was true, but because you're just tired of all of the child pornography talk and all of the pedophile talk, and it angers you to death how kids around the world are being abused is not quite enough. Are being, I don't like the word victimized because I hate that word. Are being predatored against? No. Are the target of predatory behavior. There we go. Well, we got 5 more minutes left. Cynthia, you want to hop on? You want to hop on and have a chat? Because even if we don't have a debate, we always have fun chatting. Fantastic. And then we can test this too. And then maybe you can steelman the Liberal position just for fun because you're good at doing that anyways. So all you got to do is click the link. And then you should join. Although I think you have to have a Discord account, so I don't know if you do. And then this time we'll also make sure that people are listening. Or that people can hear you. Because last time you went on, no one could hear you. I could hear you, but no one else could. Woohoo! We got one. Hello, hello. Oh, your mic's turned off. Oh, now it's on. There we go. Okay, I need ones in the chat if you can hear Cynthia.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Maybe like a tiny, tiny bit.
Huh, maybe I should turn my mic up. Oh, we got ones. All right, they can hear you. Okay, let me...
Oh.
Hello.
So way to make it... Oh, I actually have to talk to you on the phone, like we're on the phone. I see.
Well, you could turn on speaker.
No, there's no speaker option.
Oh, interesting.
Hang on.
Or maybe get your headphones.
1 sec. Soundboard? Oh, if Corey was here, she'd be laughing at my technical difficulties because I'm so untech savvy.
Is she there? Because she'd be fun to debate. Actually, no, she wouldn't.
She wouldn't. She wouldn't debate.
Yeah,
she would just leave.
That's correct.
Hang on.
She'd be annoyed before it started.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Oh, there you go.
Uh-oh. We don't want echo. That's something we don't want. Testing, testing.
Is it echoing?
Nope, we're good. All right, welcome. Welcome, Cynthia. You can introduce yourself to the people listening. You don't have to give your full name or anything. Just introduce yourself.
Okay. I'm Cynthia, Christopher's eldest sister. Not only sister.
Fantastic.
One of two sisters.
One of two sisters. 3 if you include Keela.
No.
And there's also Kat's sister. So she's technically on the verge of being a sister. Anyways.
One of two sisters that you grew up with.
Correct. So this is Cynthia. She doesn't always share my beliefs. In fact, she tends to be a lot more grounded in her beliefs than I am at times. She holds me to account. That doesn't necessarily mean that she agrees with the topic at hand, but she's pretty good at steelmanning things regardless of whether or not she agrees with it. So maybe that'll make for a good debate here today, or a good discussion. Who do we all... Can I get
have
some...
my computer, so...
Oh, you do? Oh, fantastic. So who do we all have in the chat right now? Who's all listening?
Hang on, I'm gonna mute your video so that I can.
Yeah, you don't need to hear it.
No, I just want it available so if I need to see anything.
Yeah. Okay, we got Critical Chris Fan 2.0. We got Cat Allard. Fantastic. Is D-Bot still here or is he gone? Oh, D-Bot's still here. Fantastic. My number one fan. Good stuff. You guys got to start chatting more because if you want that number one crown, you gotta put in the work. You gotta put in the work because right now D-Bot's got the title. Where's Polyworld Flies and Paul Sidley and all those other people? I know one of them's bowling or something. That's okay. All right, so the position is that liberals have shown themselves to be corrupt. What do you think of that topic, sister?
Oh, I think you know how I feel, but I guess I'll say it anyways. I think the majority of the government is corrupt anyways.
Okay, so that's...
By all means, prove me wrong.
Well, no, I definitely agree with you for the most part. Pretending to watch a show with the wife. That's fine. That is fine. Hey, at least you're showing your support by being here. Okay, well, I personally believe that the Liberal government has shown themselves to be far more corrupt, and that I don't really think that there has really been anything that has, let's say, the Conservatives on the whole haven't really shown themselves to be corrupt as of late. Now, historically, there may be something here and there. I haven't looked. But given the current parliament, I don't think that they've done anything in the last, let's say, 10 years that would substantiate claiming that they are corrupt. Now, that isn't to say that, politicians in general aren't working for themselves. Actually, you know what? I take that back because Marilyn Gladue, who was a conservative as of last week, is almost certainly at this point corrupt. She's now a liberal, though, so yeah, I guess that negates that point.
Her corruption started when she walked across to liberals. Is that what you're saying?
Well, actually, I talk about it a lot on my video that I'm releasing tonight. She's been a staunch conservative. Staunch conservative. In fact, one of the most conservatives, like conservatives in the party. Far more conservative than most capital C conservatives. And so her floor crossing was a shock to many. And I think that the action that she took, not saying because she's now a liberal, but the action that she took to cross the floor was certainly malfeasant. I like that word. It just popped in my head.
That's too big a word for me.
It's bad faith. It was a bad faith move because of her positions. I mean, if you name a conservative position, she's more conservative than the position that you can think of. For instance, she's one of the only conservatives in office that believed that abortion should be banned outright. That's how much of a conservative she was. And that's not even a conservative position in Canada. That hasn't been a topic discussed in years and years and years and years. I think most politicians agree that abortion is okay at a certain point. Not saying that's my position, but that's their position. Capital C conservatives have, at least over the last decade, agreed upon the fact that abortion is okay up to a certain point, whereas she does not.
We definitely had someone in Ontario who was trying to push the no abortion movement.
Yeah, Marilyn Gladue.
I think he lasted.
Oh, he?
No, it was a male.
Oh, okay.
He.
Yeah, well, yeah, there might be a
It
couple of
lasted
people.
like one speech, I swear.
Did he actually get voted in?
No, I think he was trying to push that to sway people, and I think he realized very quickly that was not going to get him where he wanted.
Exactly. Whereas
I wish I could remember where he was.
She has been in office for, at the very least, 5 years now. 2 election cycles at the very least. She might have been there prior, and throughout her entire term, she has been vocal about being pro-abortion. And that's not just that she's pretty much any conservative position you can think of, she's taken it. And then now she completely did a 180 flip. That's what my video is going to cover. I actually did some diving into the last year of her policy decisions to see how they so quickly, abruptly, and dramatically changed just because she crossed the floor. And my guess on the matter is that she's 63 years old. It doesn't seem like she's going to be running again. And so this jump seems very personally beneficial. She stands to benefit. So, anyways, so that would be the only conservative I can think of that has been caught in a scandal in any way, unless you can provide me with some evidence of anything else. Yeah, I'm assuming she got paid. D-Bot says she got paid. I'm assuming she got paid. If not paid, she got some other rewards. But yeah, cash. Most likely cash. Not just cash, though.
Some kind of incentive.
Well, we know for a fact, I was
Financial
just watching
incentive.
a video a second ago where Melanie Joly was talking about how if you want to, she was talking about the by-elections that are occurring, and she's trying to entice voters to come out and vote. And she was basically saying, if you want your riding to be noticed, make sure you vote Liberal. And that was something that Marilyn touched on when she crossed, was she was saying she couldn't get any support for her riding, any funding, any support, any initiatives going her way until the day she crossed. And the fact that she said that, well, that further proves my point that the Liberals are corrupt, because that is highly illegal. You cannot withhold funding. You cannot withhold anything in terms of budgetary assignments or policy decisions from a riding strictly because of party affiliancy or whether or not you are in government. You have to represent everybody equally and fairly. Not equally fiscally, but equally in the sense that everybody's getting represented in some way. And so...
Well, but who's the deciding person to determine how much funding these people are getting?
Well, that would be the Liberal government. So I guess this would be a good education point to discuss on how those things work. So what happens is, when a parliament comes into power, the first thing that they generally do, it used to be in the spring that they would do it, but now I believe they do it in the fall, is they present what's called a budget. And that budget is a broad scope of what their policy decisions are going to be and how they'll be funded. It doesn't go into any details or anything like that. And then it's voted on by Parliament. Now, I will say that as much as the Conservatives complained about the budget and they complained about all the policy decisions that they were making and all that kind of stuff, the vast majority of them ended up voting for the budget. And I think that's the reason. Actually, you know what? I may just prove your point right here. I think the reason that they did that is because they were afraid of an election. They knew that if they didn't vote for it, and the NDP didn't vote for it, even though the NDP only holds 7 seats, and the Bloc didn't vote for it, that it would push for another election. Now, their reasons for that might be, what's the word? It might be because they didn't want to have to fund, $700 million for another election when we just had one 6 months prior. But part of me believes that it was because they're afraid that they would have lost more seats. So if that is the case, which I don't think can be proven, then that would show that they are at least not looking out for the best interests of their constituents, because look at what's happening now. The Liberals are getting a majority anyways. But following the budget being tabled, once it gets approved, then it goes through committees, and the government itself tables what's called the, what is it called? I'm not going to try and remember the name, but it's basically a financial estimate report that they release in the spring, and that provides the actual financial details. And basically it shows not every dollar to the exact amount, but it shows how much each government department is getting funded and where it's being sent to, which is why in February and March you saw a lot of announcements being made with like, oh, the Department of Defense is getting this money, this person's getting this money. It's because they've actually shown that the money's going here and there. And then what happens is each one of those decisions goes to committee, and then they vote on it, and then it goes to Parliament, and it's approved, and then the funding is released. And that's how funding happens. So, yeah, basically she was saying that she wasn't getting the funding she required and requested, which there's proof of that because I pulled up the parliamentary debates and discussions that were happening, and she was saying over and over again, I'm not getting funding. My constituents aren't getting funding. My riding's not getting funding. And then the day she crosses, she claims that she's now going to be getting funding. So, yeah. Further example of illegal activities from the Liberal government, corrupt activities from the Liberal government. There's much more. There is much more. Do you have anything to say contrary to that?
I don't, but I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know how you feel people should be able to cross over without it impacting us the way it is. So what's your solution? Because I feel like people should have a right to switch if they want to, but how do we do that in a way that's not impacting us how it is right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I touched on this in my last live. Did we talk about this? Can you put a 1 up in the chat if we talked about this in the last live? I think we did, or maybe it was a video that I made. So there was a solution presented back in 2012, and this is why I'm not a conservative fan. The Conservatives were currently in power, and it was the NDP that tabled the bill. It was a very small bill, very short bill, and a very easy bill to understand. It was only 4 paragraphs long, and it basically said that in the event of a floor crosser, a by-election must be held if that floor crosser is crossing to another party. So you don't have to represent a party as... Oh, we did talk about this. Okay. You don't have to represent a party if you're an MP. You can stand as what's called an independent, which means you don't have a party that you stand behind. You're basically there on your own. So if you cross as an independent, then the bill posited that you shouldn't have to call a by-election. And I agree with that. I don't think you should necessarily call a by-election if you turn into an independent, because it doesn't show any shift necessarily show any shift in any potential policy decisions that your constituents would have voted for. But what it did call for is that if you switched to another party, that it would call for an immediate by-election to prove that the constituents still wanted that person in power. And that makes the most sense, because by-elections are for a single riding. They don't cost near as much. They don't disrupt Parliament. Parliament continues on. So if you end all of Parliament, then that you have to have a federal election. Parliament's no longer in session. The government's no longer operating. Funding gets shut down. Like, everything gets shut down until Parliament starts again. But if a riding has what's called a by-election, which there's 3 happening this month, then it doesn't shut anything down. It's just temporary disruption for the riding, which I think the vast majority of constituents would agree that that is worth it, given the fact that in a scenario like this, you have someone who clearly represents what the vast majority of people wanted for, in terms of Gladue, what they wanted in her riding. She won the popular vote for the last 2 or 3 elections. And they've made it abundantly clear that they have a mandate for her to do what she's been doing for the last 2 or 3 parliament cycles, or cycles of government. And now she's completely flipped on them. She's trying to say that she's talked to constituents and they agree with that position change, and I haven't seen any evidence of that. And there's a lot of people who are calling out, saying that that's false. But anyways, so that's the solution. At least I think that's the most, the fairest solution, is to call a by-election and force that person to prove that the constituents are okay with that switch. Because more than anything, like, it doesn't affect us as much. It doesn't affect you, because you're not in Sarnia. This is where she represents Sarnia, by the way. You're not in Sarnia. I'm not in Sarnia. So her positions don't affect us near as much as it does them. But they no longer have a voice. They no longer have a representative that is representing the positions that they believe in. So, yeah, that's my solution. By-election. But the problem is everyone voted it down in 2020 or in 2012. And they've tabled, the Conservatives this time are trying to table it. But a lot of people are calling them out for hypocrisy, because it was tabled by the NDP in 2012, and the Conservatives were currently in power at the time, and they all voted no, except for 3. All but 3 of them voted no. And that was because they were in power. So that's just an example of how absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Or maybe they just didn't think that it would be abused in this way, because, as I said, I have actually released a video on this, but as I said in that video, this has never happened to this extent before. The amount of floor crossers and the floor crossers leading to a majority government. It's never happened. The last time that it happened was the first ever parliamentary session, and the reason it happened was because you had non-Confederates join the Canadian government, and that was considered a floor crossing. So basically you had people who didn't want Canada to be a country who joined the Confederation and crossed the floor to join the Confederation to create a country. Back in, I think it was 1869 or something, or was it 1769? I can't remember when when the first parliament occurred. I should make sure I know that. But anyways, that was the only time it ever happened. Since then, it's never led to a scenario like this. And this is the most floor crossers we've ever had since then as well. So, what are your thoughts on that? You have any pushback on that?
No.
Yes, correct. An unelected majority is also known as a dictatorship. D-Bot says the NDP had added a bunch of crazy crap to the bill. Well, I didn't see anything to the bill. From what I saw, it was just 4 paragraphs. And I understand why the NDP would want to push that, because they're never going to be in power. And so no matter what, they're losing a voice with floor crossers, because they will always be the opposition. And when people cross the floor, then they're losing a member of their opposition. So, but yeah, Critical Chris Fan 2.0 says an unelected majority is also known as a dictatorship, and I agree with that. Maybe that can be our new topic. How?
You know what I think your topic should be is use your spidey senses to guess who the next seat's going to be that's going to move over to make us an unelected majority.
Well, that's the thing, is there's a lot of talk going on right now. There was a political pundit for the Liberals that was being interviewed by CTV last week, and he stated that there were up to 10 more floor crossers that the Liberal government was approaching, which I believe is, I don't know if it's illegal, but it's certainly bad faith practice, that they're literally approaching opposition members, and they're trying to coerce them with, whether it's bribery or whatnot. I would say bribery, because there's historical precedent for it, and that was going to be a topic of the whole Liberal government is corrupt. Over the last 10 years, there's been numerous examples of bribery and backdoor deals and beneficiaries receiving funds that they shouldn't receive, just so they stand to benefit. But yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought. Yeah, I believe that bribery would be the case. But anyways, yeah, so there was 10 more potential floor crossers that the Liberal government is trying to approach to steal over to a majority, which at that point, that would be a super majority with the 3 seats
But
they're going to
I want to know who you think it's going to be.
Who I think it's going to be. Whew, that's tough. Well, it's tough because if Maryland can cross, then who wouldn't cross? I can tell you one thing. It's not going to be Pierre. Pierre Poilievre's not crossing, but let's take a look at that, shall we? Let's go to let's click on here. Go to 2. Let's go to House of Commons. Let's take a look. The thing is, the thing that makes this hard is that conservatives, the ones that have crossed, have been staunch conservatives, and there's no conservatives who are showing any signs of malcontent. Like, there's no one that's unhappy with their leadership at the moment. So it's very. I don't think Dan will cross. He's been pushing very hard for. I think he was one of the ones that pushed for a couple of the conservative bills that were tabled this year. So I don't think it would be him. Could be Dean Allison, potentially. Like, I would assume that a lot of them would be on Ontario. I will say that the NDP who crossed over, I believe she did it because she's getting help from the government to prevent her son from going to jail because he's a pedophile. He's being charged with being a pedophile at the moment. He's in court for that. So I have a feeling that the federal government's stepping in to try and help his case. And that's her payout. So
Where's Billy Morin? He's on the list here.
who's already there? What are you saying? Who's already there?
The top. I just looked it up and said the top speculated names: Billy Morin,
Billy Morin?
Scott
Okay.
Aitchison, and Dan Albus. Those are our three.
Okay. Pierre's already there. Yeah, good point. Pierre's pretty much a liberal as it is, so yeah, that doesn't the truth is they're all liberals. Michael Ma was one of the first ones to cross, and a lot of people think he was a liberal plant, that he wasn't conservative to begin with, and that he just put on the conservative moniker to get voted. And then so you said what were the names again? Billy Morris
Morin.
with an M?
Yeah, Morin.
Oh, okay. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can look at any of his historical positions. It's tough. This is pure speculation from anyone who has an idea of what it could be. Michael Ma switched. Billy. Oh, my contacts are starting to get all buggy. Billy Morin. Oh, yeah. Oh, Edmonton. Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Let's see what work he's working on. Government orders. Addressing the continuing victimization of Homicide Victims Family Act. Okay, yeah. Indigenous and Northern Affairs. Yeah, we got our candidate. Yup. And then the other two?
Scott Aitchison. Aitchison.
Atchison.
Atchison.
Yeah.
AI.
Prairie Sound, Muskoka. I can see that. I feel like a lot of them are going to be out of Ontario. I guess one thing to look into would be to see who's been pushing for funding and is not getting it. And then the age of the person. Because if they're in what could be their last term, or they're not planning on going for re-election, then they don't really care if they screw over their constituents, which is what the belief is for Marilyn, that because she's not planning on running again, that she doesn't really care what her constituents think. But yeah, that's a good question, but it would end up being pure speculation, and honestly, there's no way to tell. Although that Billy guy, he's in Edmonton to begin with, and then focused heavily on Indigenous affairs, which the Conservatives don't push as hard on, so I could see that being a point of contention. What else do you have to say in terms of some pushback or some critique? I just want to get into the juicy details. The fun stuff.
Yeah.
The fun stuff.
You're asking me at 9:20 at night. I have no pushback.
You have no pushback. Well, that makes for a... Well, does anyone in the chat have anything to say about this? She hasn't been... She's been kind of just... I don't even know what... Not much of a debate, more of a just going over the same stuff we went over last week. If you were on the chat last week, we wouldn't even be talking about this because you'd know that we talked about this already. All right, maybe I can just go over some examples of liberal corruption. How does that sound?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. You sound like you're about to fall asleep.
It's my bedtime.
Well, there's the Government of Canada Strategies Arrive Can Auditor General Report out of 2025. I believe it was out of 2000, or was it earlier? What was? Yeah, 2025. it was 2020. They just did the report maybe this year. Do you know what that's about?
No.
So back during COVID, you remember the ArriveCan app?
Oh, yes. We had to use that.
Yes, we did. And so the contract that was given out, so there was 31 contracts awarded. I'm just reading about it now because I pulled it up. There was 31 contracts. Federal organizations were awarded. There's 31 federal organizations that were awarded 106 contracts worth $92 million to a company called GC Strategies. That's the key firm that was in charge of building the ArriveCan app. So yeah, it cost $92.7 million for a company that consisted of, I believe, 2 people. 82% of the files had no proof of fair market value, which I believe means that they didn't prove that they were qualified to take on that role, which makes sense because usually when you're building an app like that that's going to be utilized by an entire country, you'd want an entire team working on something like that, and there was 2 guys. 21% lacked security clearances, 33% no proof of contractor qualifications, which I just touched on. 58% of no bid contracts skipped competition. So what that means is that out of all those contracts awarded, 58, over half of them weren't bidded on, which that is standard procedure when you're talking about a private entity being awarded a contract. So anytime, like for instance, with the current fiasco that's happening, the current corruption allegations, there's the Alto train. I've told you about the Alto train, right? The high-speed rail.
Yes.
Well, when they were presenting that, tabling it, what they did a release. I can't remember what the word was, but they tabled the interest to see how many companies are interested in competing for the contract. And you're supposed to basically reach out to the market, the free market, and say, hey, who wants this contract? And then a bunch of people respond, and then they have to present why they're the ones that should be given that contract. Well, it says here that 58% of the ArriveCan organize, like the ArriveCan app, 58% of the contracts had no competition, so they were just given out to this company, the GC Strategies. RCMP launched multiple criminal investigations into the contracting irregularities, and apparently it was a systemic graft with taxpayer money funneled to connected insiders while Canadians face costs. I think this was the first time that a prime minister was ever deemed to be what was the word usage? I can't remember. There was a word that they used. Oh, the first sitting PM to be found breach of federal ethics rules. Yeah, there were several people who resigned over it, 2 cabinet ministers. So so this is the wrong thing. I'm looking at the wrong thing. But Trudeau was the first sitting PM to be found in breach of federal ethics, which is crazy. So yeah, maybe that's something I should look into. Maybe I should make a investigative report, but it's so 6 years ago. It's old news. That's old news. There's more fun stuff, more recent stuff. But on that note, going on the continued Trudeau fun, because he was one of the speakers at the Liberal convention, so I guess he's still relevant. That with his child porn allegations, and I guess Katy Perry was just accused of sexually assaulting someone in Australia. The girl from Orange is the New Black. She claims that she pulled aside her underwear and rubbed her particulars against her without permission. Nasty. You ever heard about the We Charity scandal?
No.
Okay, so the Liberals awarded a sole source contract worth up to $912 million to the We Charity. Trudeau's mother and brother were paid for this. They were paid speaking fees. Finance Minister Bill Morneau, his daughter worked there, and the family received benefits. Trudeau did not recuse himself, which is the standard procedure that you're supposed to partake in, which recusing involves you contacting the ethics commissioner saying, hey, I have family who are involved in this, and this is an item that the government is going to be funding this. My family's involved in this. I need to not be a part of this in any way, shape, or form. And he didn't do that. So what ended up happening is the deal ended up getting canceled. So there was a lot of claims that his family was going to be paid a lot of money. But he got caught. So, and then the finance minister ended up resigning. Trudeau did not resign because it's Trudeau. Even though his family, like his mother and brother, were involved. This guy, the finance minister, they worked there, but not in the same way that the brother and mother worked there. And he ended up resigning, but Trudeau refused to resign. So that's another one. Oh man, there's so many. So many. Foreign interference on the elections, that's a big one. Crime minister. D-Bot calls Justin Trudeau the crime minister. You know what's funny is that like all throughout Trudeau's, time in office, no one, like the media never reported on this. No one was ever aware of it except for people who were considered conspiracy theorists. And now it's all come out as true and it's all been validated and stuff like that. And the conspiracy hat has been removed from all the so-called conspiracy theorists. However, the media never touched on it, so it kind of just faded into the winds. And it's never been talked about. But it's just crazy because the same thing they're saying about Carney, they used to say about Justin Trudeau, and he was involved in so many scandals. So many scandals. There's a public inquiry that was led by Justice Marie-Josée Hogue, found that China and India attempted to meddle in the 2019 and 2021 elections. They found that the Trudeau government was insufficiently transparent, slow to act, and the report said trust in institutions were shaken, and government and efforts to stem the meddling and interference in the election were piecemeal and underwhelming. The CSIS, which is the Canadian Investigative Intelligence Agency, linked interference to benefiting Liberals in some ridings. There was 12 Liberals that were in it. So this report by the CSIS was actually shelved, so the findings of the report were never shown to the public. And I think it's been shelved for many, 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 many years. And in the same way that the JFK files were shelved and all that kind of stuff, the Canada government does the same thing, where if something comes out, they can choose to put it on the backbench so that no one can see it for decades. So we'll find out about this in years to come. But I believe the report, they said that 12 MPs were working, they found that 12 were working with China. And now everyone's speculating as to who the 12 are. Michael Ma, who was a conservative and now a Liberal, he wasn't in office at the time, but I do believe he is now an additional MP who's working with China. Because he has a lot of ties to China, which I'm working on an investigative report on that right now. And that's one of the things, one of the first things he did when he crossed the floor was to go to China to negotiate on trade deals with them. Not surprising. Our new grand trade partners. What do you think about all that? Debate me.
Nothing, brother. I'm tired. I need to go to bed.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have to let you go for the day.
Okay.
Thank you for joining, though. It was
You are welcome.
a pleasure as always. It doesn't seem that we have any other contenders, unless you know of someone who would like to hop on and go to bat against this position. Do you happen to know anyone?
I'll text my husband.
That would be fun. You have to let him know though that he's still my best man, assuming he comes. So he can't. There can't be any. What's the word? Emotional fallback from this if he does decide.
I can't guarantee he will. It's late for both of us. He may not. It may be too late for him to.
That's okay.
But
And maybe we'll give him an
I asked.
opportunity to prepare for his position in the future. Because I'm over here with a ton of stuff, and he doesn't really have anything. But it would be fun. I think that would be a little bit more of a heated discussion. And if
It'd
not,
be entertaining though.
it probably, yeah. I don't know if you heard
Maybe
me
if you're
when
gonna do this again. If you're gonna do this again, I'll talk to you.
Okay, well, yeah. I did say at the beginning it would be entertaining either way, because either I'm going to get absolutely demolished and shown to be an idiot, or the other person will be. So whoever's watching, it's going to be fun for them either way. But if that's it for the day, then that's it for the day, and that's fine. There's always next time. I have a question for you, though, while we're waiting. Oh, your mic's off. We may have lost her, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, you're here. Hello?
I'm here. I was just talking to my husband.
What was I going to say? Crap. Oh, yeah, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Is Jordan Critical Chris fan 1.0?
If he is, I am unaware of it.
Oh. We're trying to
I can't say yes or no, but I don't. If he is, he has not told me.
I just can't think of who else it would be. There's like no one else that I could think of that it would be.
Well, they haven't shown up on today's video because he didn't even know that this was happening. So.
Well, he
Maybe.
hasn't shown up, I don't think, for many videos. Has he watched a few of them?
Not with me, so
Oh, okay.
if he has, I'm unaware.
It'd be funny if he was hiding in a corner somewhere, just watching the videos, just fuming.
I wouldn't put it past him. I feel like he would have got some more sassy responses though, and a little bit of.
I haven't gotten any. That's
Yeah,
the
so
unfortunate part.
I'm gonna guess not then.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like he would be like opposition to Critical Chris or something.
Yeah, that's what I would assume too. The thing is, I just can't think of who that would be.
Yeah.
But there's been a bunch that have jumped on board. I think there's now like 3 or 4 of them that are Critical Chris fans. So whoever it is, they started a trend.
If I was tech savvy enough, I'd do it too, but I don't even know how to do it.
I don't know how to do it. Change some sort of username. But anyways, so did he say yes?
Not tonight, he said.
Oh, okay.
No for tonight.
All right, well.
One day. We'll get him on.
Okay, well, thank you for joining for today. I think
You're welcome.
I will talk to you later. How do I, okay, I'm going
All right.
to, don't leave. I'm going to try and boot you just in case I get some trolls. I want to figure out how to do that. So I do that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I guess.
I'm still here.
No, I know. I guess I could. Well, I want to be able to boot without blocking. I don't want to block people.
Can't you just hang up?
Well, I don't want to hang up because, like, let's say I got 4 or 5 people waiting to talk. I can't hang up. I gotta force you guys to hang up.
You can't just hang up on the person calling you?
It's not a call. It's a voice channel, so multiple people can be talking at once. So,
Oh.
So, how do I kick you off? I'm going to have to look that up. Okay, you can leave. I'll just look it up.
Bye.
All right, good chatting with you.
You too, brother.
Bye now.
Bye.
All right. Let's get ones in the chat for Cynthia. It wasn't as exciting as I was hoping it would be. She provided absolutely no pushback, and I ended up just going on a rant on what turned into another educational session, which most of the things I talked about you guys already knew about, so nothing exciting there. Do we have anyone else? Any other contenders? Any other people who want to have a debate or a discussion? Because that wasn't very exciting. As much as I love Cynthia coming on and chatting, that was kind of I'm not going to say boring, but it wasn't even as good as our normal talks are. Her and I can talk for an hour and a half about politics, and it usually ends up being fun. No one else? I think that might be it, ladies and gentlemen. That might be it for the day. Well, either way, it was worth a try, and we'll try again. Get the word out. Any people you know that are liberals, let them know that you know someone. It's okay. You can call it boring. Not boring for me, but maybe boring for everyone else, because the things we talked about, we had already talked about this week. So they're just rehashing the same old stuff. So yeah, it's probably boring for them. For me, it wasn't boring, but it felt too, what's the word? It felt too like forced, if that makes sense. Good night, D-Bot. Thank you for joining. Tune in next time. Make sure to reach out to any liberal people you know and let them know that I'm on here and that they can make me look like an asshat if they so like. Side note, on my website, I have put up my donation page. This cost me a lot of money. It cost me a lot of time and a lot of effort, as I was saying. Well, today I started working at 8 a.m. and I'm still not finished my video. Plus, I have the live that I'm doing, so I've probably put in over 12 hours at this point, just today alone. Yeah, I know. Well, that's a good thing. Maybe we should get Grandma on here. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and costs me a lot of money. So if anyone's willing to put in any donations, any amount helps. I hate to sound like a what's it called? A bum. Well, not really a bum, just like a grifter, if you will. But yeah, it's not free and it's not easy. It's a lot of work. So any donations would help. It's criticalchris.com. Just go to the donations page. You can set up a single payment for however much you like, or you can set up a monthly payment. And whatever you deem appropriate, I'm willing to accept. Oh, I got to give a shout out, actually. There was a donation made for, I'm not going to say the amount, this week. A Julian Sidley. Thank you very much to Julian Sidley for being my first donator. Your donation is very much appreciated. And yeah, Julian Sidley, everyone. Hearts in the chat, likes in the chat, ones in the chat for Julian. That was very kind of him. It was much appreciated. Much appreciated. But anyone else is willing to help, please do so. In the meantime, hit that notification bell. Make sure to comment on this video after it is done streaming. Watch my other video that's coming on live tonight. Not live, but it's coming on tonight. It should be done in the next hour or so. And then I'll be posting more videos throughout the week. I don't know when my next live will be. I got to check the Jets schedule. We might have a couple of Jets games this week. So we'll see when we'll be coming live. But I will be posting videos throughout the week. There's a lot of stuff that I got to touch on, and I got to find a way to make these videos faster. They just take a long time. But yeah, there's a lot of news coming your way. And in the meantime, yeah, just get that notification bell going so you know when the video pops up. Yeah, we're getting some traction, ladies and gentlemen. My videos are with each video I get more and more views. My best video so far is almost 300 views. My short that I just put out yesterday has almost 2,000 views. So we're getting some traction. Just need to get these lives going to make them more entertaining. But anyways, I'll let you guys know in advance when the live's coming. It'll be on my X. On my, I'll make a post on here as well. I do need an editor. That would make things a lot easier. Problem is that I don't know anyone that knows how to edit. Just me. So, yeah. And my footage is massive, so I can't send the footage over online because, like, a 15-minute recording is about half a terabyte of data. So, yeah, the online transfer thing just doesn't work. Anyways, tune in next time. Maybe Wednesday, if not Wednesday, possibly Friday, but it'll be sometime this week. And I can't wait to see you guys. And thank you for joining. And as always, thank you for your support. And thank you for taking the time out to come chat with me and to come hear what I have to say. All right, make sure to watch that next video. Until then, Chris out.